Hey guys, Sunny Jab here, welcome back to my channel, and today I'd like to show you my brand new Aprilia RS660, which is a middleweight sports bike, and I am really excited to share this video with you. I've just recently passed my test not so long ago, back in January. I've been riding Yamaha R125 before, and I always thought, you know, when I pass my test, I'm probably going to go for Yamaha R1. But then I saw an R7, which was released last year, I believe. And as soon as I saw that bike, I was like, that's it, I'm going to go for Yamaha R7. It looks great, it looks amazing, just looks like a baby R1. But then something happened. When I passed my test, obviously, you know, I went for to test ride the Yamaha R7. I test rode it, and something didn't feel right. I'll tell you why. Because I've been riding R125, so when I was test riding the R7, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing bike, and when you go through twists and turns on the, you know, sort of like countryside roads, it's fun to ride. But I felt like I'm still riding R125 because the way it's built so slim, you know, and it just didn't feel like a heavy bike. Plus it was a bit too aggressive for me as well, so, you know, you had to go a little bit forward. But then I was looking around, I thought, fine, I'll check out Kawasaki Ninja. Again, I didn't feel, you know, that this is a sports bike I was looking for. And then I came across this bad boy, this sexy looking Aprilia RS660. Right guys, so if you talk about the engine, this bike is 659cc parallel twin. It's got the 100 braking horsepower and 69 Nm of torque. If you look at the engine, this is essentially the engine from RS V4, and they've sort of like, you know, cut it in half into middle, so it's basically a parallel twin. So if you look at the parallel twin engine, if you're into your parallel twins, you're going to absolutely love this bike. Right guys, so let's listen to the sound of this bike. So obviously this bike hasn't got any aftermarket exhaust fitted on it at the moment, so this comes with the standard exhaust, guys, and I have to say this is probably the best, you know, sounding bike is out there. I've listened to Yamaha, I've listened to Honda CBR 600, I've also listened to Kawasaki 650 Ninja, but honestly this beats every single one of them. You know, when you compare the 660, 600, 660 range, the midweight sports bike, this is gonna sound the best. But obviously once you've put exhaust on it, then it's a completely different story. So let's hear the sound of this bike. Right guys, so if you just take a look at the bike itself, it actually looks quite big and spacious, you know, so it probably looks like a heavy bike, but surprisingly it's very light. It only weighs 183 kilograms wet weight, and it's just literally very light. One of the reasons why this bike is so light, because the chassis of this bike is actually made of aluminium instead of steel. So, and that's what obviously makes it so light. If you look at this seat, one of the things I really love about this bike is this sort of like a memory foam seat. So look how comfortable, and it's got a bit of like a memory foam, you know, if you just press it and it just comes straight up. And surprisingly, even the pillion seat as well is quite generous, because if you compare this to some of the other bikes, for instance Yamaha R7, the rear seats are very slim. Yeah, so this is actually very nice and comfortable, to be honest with you. You know, so that means, you know, a child or a slim person can sit on it nice and comfortable. quite nice. And obviously this bike has got the, if you look at the suspension, it's got upside down KYB forks, which is really nice. I love that golden sort of color, so this is a nice KYB upside down forks. And the brakes are Brembo, so it's got the Brembo calipers. Nice big disc here, and I really love the red wheel at the front and the black wheel at the back. And if you look at the tires as well, guys, so this bike has actually got a Pirelli Diablo Rosso 4, which is a really nice tire. As you can see, it's nice and wide.
Nice design.
And nice design as well, and the profile it looks pretty great. And what I really love about this bike is, if you look at the rear light, it's like a Batman light.
Wow.
So that looks pretty cool. We've got this windshield. That's the only thing I had to change. As standard, it comes with a white shield, but I've had this changed. So this is a nice double bubble tinted, black windshield. It's quite big. I think the manufacturer of this is Puig. I don't know how to pronounce that, Puig, Puig, or whatever it's called. And also the headlights. Wow, this is amazing. I love the lighting on this bike. So this bike comes with full LED headlamps, and you've got the DLRs as well. So you've got the nice daytime running lights, and even the front headlights are LED.
Flash them for me.
And even the indicators
are
also LED as well. Right guys, so for something like this, which is a mid-weight street sports bike, it actually comes with a lot of text and a lot of goodies included as standard. So let's talk about the up and down quick shifter. It's got installed, it's factory fitted up and down quick shifter. It comes with as standard. It's also got the cruise control, which is really handy when you're riding it on a motorway. So you can literally just press that button, push it that way, and then it activates the cruise control. This bike also comes with a nice TFT dash. As we have a look, oh my god, wow, look at this. Be a racer, brilliant. So it's got a nice TFT dash, which obviously you don't get with Yamaha R7 or Honda, but I believe you do get it with Kawasaki Ninja 650. And it's also got the 3 different riding modes. So if you take a look at it, now you've got the commute mode. You can just press the button and change it to dynamic, which is a sports mode, and then you can set one up, which is the individual mode. So the commute mode is more for commuting. So when you're just riding around town in city centre, you're just commuting. So you've got that set up on the commute mode. You can't obviously customize that. It's basically standard. And the throttle response is a little bit less on that, but when you switch it to dynamic, again, this is not customizable. The throttle response is a little bit more aggressive on this, somewhere in the middle. So when you basically riding on a motorway, for instance, or if you just want to take it to the track, for instance, this is really handy. And you can set one up which is like individual mode. So this individual mode, I've set it to the maximum throttle. So this would be the fastest really, and you can set it up to customize it. For instance, you can turn off the anti-wheel control. So as I was explaining, this bike comes with a lot of goodies, a lot of features. So stuff that it comes standard with, you've got the up-down quick shifter, you've got the cruise control, you've got the anti-wheelie lock on it as well, so which is really handy. It's got the anti-wheelie control, and all these different riding modes. So guys, overall I think it's fantastic, for this sort of price range, when you're just spending roughly around £10,000, 10.5, I think it's amazing. Yeah, and if you look at the what I really like as well, these side mirrors, they look quite and feel quite premium. The bike itself actually feels quite premium as well. When you look at it, it doesn't look like a cheap bike. It looks very nice, especially this color Apex Black. It's got a nice little sort of like a glittery effect on it as well on the body, and it looks absolutely stunning.
You can actually see the glitter,
Yeah. See, it's got a bit of like a sort of glittery effect, a bit of shiny tone to it, which looks really nice. So, and the combination of black and red, yeah, it's called Apex Black, but it's like a satin black, like a matte black, but it's got a bit of a shimmer in it as well, which makes it look really nice when the sun is shining on your bike and you can see, wow, you know, it's great.
And guys, don't forget to buy these if you want to ride this.
Yes, of course, you know, you need the boots for the bike, protects your shins, so it's always better to have full boots. And it's very rare you find the seat, which is like an orange color. This kind of really attracted to me as well, because normally, you know, they're just black, aren't they? So this is something different. That's what makes it look a bit, you know, unique. It's Italian, isn't it? They really know how to do the job.
Yeah.
Right, guys, so if we just talk about the ergonomics of this bike, I mean, that's probably my favorite part of this video and of this bike as well. The reason why I went for this bike, it's probably one of the main reasons. So if you just look at this, I'm 6.1 tall, and when I'm sat on this bike, obviously I've not adjusted it, I've not lowered it down or anything, so this is a standard height of this bike, and I've got my foot on the floor, nice and comfortable, with a little bit of my knee slightly, you know, bent. So it's a really nice riding position, and even the clip-ons, they're actually quite high. So for, I mean, it's not like full-on upright bike, and it's not also very aggressive as well. So somewhere in between. So if you just take a look at this here, when I hold these clip-ons, I only have to lean my back a little bit, just very tiny bit, lean forward to hold this. So now if I'm riding on this position, I could be riding all day and not get tired. You know, it's not one of those bikes where, you know, you're just leaning forward fully and then after half an hour you've got really bad backache and your wrists are killing, and, you know, so it's nothing crazy like this. So this is one of the reasons because of how I'm going to be riding it quite a bit. So I want something that's comfortable for me, that's comfortable riding, but I also didn't want fully upright bike, because normally what happens is, yeah, when you go for an upright bike, you kind of have to compromise on sporty look of the bike. Did you get it? So you have to get like something like a Naked, for instance, MT-07 or, you know, ZX6, you know, 600. So they're upright, but, you know, they're not sporty. So I want, as my first bike, I wanted something that looks sporty, looks like a heavy bike, but I'm also not compromising. So this is a best example, really. So look, I'm sat on it nice and comfortable like this. I can ride it all day long around the city, around town, not a problem at all. But when I take it to the tracks, or if I'm riding on the motorway and taking it to the tracks, and let's say if I want to really, you know, grab his pants off and just, you know, have a bit of fun with it, you can sort of like lean forward like this. So I've done this honestly when I've ridden it on a motorway, and, you know, let's say doing 70 miles per hour. So I actually leaned forward like this, and which was amazing. So now I've got my head covered, you know, with the alignment of the windscreen, and it's blocking all the wind off me, and I can really enjoy the sportiness of it, you know, that I've got the nice sports bike. So that's a really, really big, massive selling point for me. I'm not sure if that's the case for other people, but for me, honestly, this was the biggest selling point, the ergonomics of this bike. Because look, it looks like a big, heavy bike. I'm not compromising on that. You know, I've got the nice riding position when I'm just riding around town and commuting, and if I want to take it to the track, I can lean forward and have a bit of fun with it. This bike got obviously a lot of torque as well, so a lot of low-end power, but at the same time, it's got a lot of you know, sort of mid-range, high-end power as well. Right, guys, so now it's time to take this bad boy for a little spin. So I'm just gonna go grab my helmet. So as you can see, this is a really nice helmet by HJC. It's Alpha 11 carbon. You know, it's like a nice carbon fiber helmet, and obviously it matches with my bike, just black and red. And I've also got this Cardo Paul Top fitted on it as well, so it's a nice intercom. So I've got a nice little setup here. So let's just pop this on, and I'm going to take it for a spin and see how it looks, you know, while I'm riding this bike. So you have to wear a helmet, and you have to make sure that this is fastened correctly. Because if it's not fastened, it's not legal. You can get pulled over and get in trouble. Right guys, so if you talk about the price of this bike, they are going for 10,300 on Aprilia's website. So where I live in Manchester, you've got one in Rochdale and you've got one in Sheffield. So I actually got quite lucky because I actually got this from Sheffield. They had offer on for about 8,500. So I actually got my bike for 8.5 grand, and obviously I've put some stuff on it, the tank protectors and you know, this windshield. So it cost me around about 9 grand. Now if you compare this with Yamaha, for instance, Yamahas are going for 8.5 grand as well. So honestly guys, my money, you know, I would take you to spend it on something like this, where you get a lot of goodies included. For instance, you know, quick up down quick shifter, you know, you've got the cruise control, you've got the anti-wheelie control, you've also got the 3 different riding modes. So yeah, it's packed with all of this good stuff guys. So honestly, considering that, you know, you're paying the same amount, I would definitely go for this. And even if it was 10,500, I think it's still worth getting this bike for the obvious reasons. If you look at the ergonomics, with all this good stuff that it's got, you know, so it makes perfect sense to go for that bike.
Yeah,
Alright guys, so thank you very much for watching this video, and if you like this video guys, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and stay tuned for more videos on this bad boy. I'm going to be making a lot more videos riding around town, might be taking it on a track, so I'll have a GoPro or 360 camera, catch all the different angles and put it together. So stay with me and hopefully I'll see you soon. One love.